Hey YouTube, it is Easy Prepper 101. Today we are continuing with the What If series and we're going to be talking about food. And we're going to give you some helpful hints and some ideas of things that you maybe want to have in your house or an apartment, depending on where you live and what kind of natural disasters you maybe prepping for, or just of what's kind of been going on with the pandemic. So as you can definitely see, we have some MREs, Mountain House, individual Mountain House, number 10 cans, and even going to regular food like ramen noodles, angel hair pasta, spaghetti sauce, SpaghettiOs, Chef Boyardee, muscle milk, and a little bit more. So now what we're going to do is we're going to kind of break this up into two parts of kind of diving to, the prepping side and then kind of going to the natural stuff that you can get in a store. All right, as you can see, we're starting with kind of the prepping normal that a lot of preppers have, good to have, and even if you're backpacking and camping. As you can see, I have Mountain House bucket. I have this I got, which is a kind of a breakfast thing that I got at Walmart here. Then we have the individual pouches stuff. This is another thing that I got at Walmart, which is a 72-hour kit that has brown sugar, multi-grain, cheese macaroni, teriyaki and rice, a hearty tortilla soup, and a whey milk alternative. This is potato soup. And then one more thing that we kind of have back here that I'm kind of hiding are little MREs. These are for the civilian. This is a pork sausage patty. This is beef strips. And if you are a vegetarian or you don't eat meat, this is a cheese tortellini. There are other options out there. I definitely recommend go check out Amazon or go check out, a surplus store. Check out the MREs that you can get now. Where I got these is you do not have to buy the whole kit, which is $10 here, but it gives you the cookie and orange paste, powder and stuff for the entire day. You can just get the entree, so you could just get the cheese tortellini, and they were selling them for $4 a piece, which isn't too bad. So if you just wanted to stock up on the main entrees, that is a good thing to have. This is the basics. There's been tons and tons of videos of what you should kind of have. And for me and for my wife and kind of what we do, we make sure that we definitely have enough food for at least a couple months. When we had our algae bloom situation where you went to the grocery store, it was almost like a precursor of what happened with the pandemic of 2020, where at that time you couldn't get anything in the grocery store. You couldn't get water, you couldn't get pop, you couldn't get paper plates, you couldn't get napkins, you couldn't get any deli meat, pizzas. The freezers were all empty because you couldn't wash your hands because of what happened with the algae bloom. Algae got into the water system, so it affected the entire area. So all the stuff that you normally could do on a general basis, you couldn't do. So for stuff like this, you gotta have water. And that's gonna be in the next video coming up of talking about water. But they do definitely say on the Red Cross and other stuff out there, how much food and stuff you can have. I can definitely say for a fact, for us to get water brought in from FEMA and from the government to help the Northwest Ohio people out, it took almost 4 to 5 days to get water in, and the lines were long just to get water. And it took almost an additional week to 2 weeks to get the grocery stores stocked back up. And where we live in Northwest Ohio, people were driving 1 to 2 to 3 hours in all directions, north, south, east, west, of getting food, water, and everything. And me and my dad, we even made a trip way up to Michigan, a location that I knew was going to have stuff that people weren't going to go to. And the people in Michigan didn't understand, and we told them what happened, and then they started to panic and started to buy. So as you can see, in a panic situation, if they hear about one city is having a kind of a problem like what we had, then it spread to where everyone else in Michigan was panicking because they weren't sure if something like that was going to happen to them. But that's why it's good to have food like this for at least 3 months for one person. So for me and my wife, we have a total of 6 months. But then we also have extra stuff on the side in case we have to have other family or friends come that they need help. We do have extra food on the side. Now what we're going to get ready to do is now we're going to take you to another side of the food portion that kind of, gets taken away from the prepping, but some preppers do talk about it, and that's going to be talking about normal food. All right, as you can see, this is stuff that you can get at a grocery store versus the stuff that we got. Some of the stuff you can get at a grocery store, but some stuff you have to maybe go to like a Bass Pro, Cabela's, or even like a surplus store to get like the MREs. But this stuff is what I really want to talk about here. And there's been some great videos out there. You can just search them of what maybe day-to-day grocery stores items you can get. I'm giving you a few options of stuff that we need to keep. And like I said in the last segment with the MREs, if you are, maybe you're a vegetarian, so you're gonna maybe wanna get like MREs that have like the cheese tortellini or like the veggie burger and stuff like that that they do have. And also for this, I have to be careful of some of the stuff that I eat because I do have a medical, not a medical condition, but allergic reaction to seafood, which can actually, if I ingest it, it can actually, I could go into anaphylactic shock. And if I don't have my EpiPen with me, I always do. But, and so does my wife, we carry multiple redundancies, and even both of my parents have it, and even my in-laws and other family members, I've given them out because you just never know. I also carry Benadryl. So you want to make sure on your prepping, what you need to do is how it's going to affect you. For me, with the situation that I'm in, I can't have seafood, I can't have lettuce, stuff like that. So a lot of stuff that I'm going to have is going to be stuff that I'm going to be able to eat. Now my wife, she can eat lettuce, tomato, raw onions, seafood if she wants to, but she chooses not to because of my sensitivity that I smell it. I can smell that stuff. So kudos to my wife, and I love you, hon. But a lot of stuff that we do have here that we can do. And one thing too, before someone writes in the comments, well, you have, tomato sauce here. This has been cooked down, and I can have this. So that's not a problem. The same thing with the ragu. Any of like the regular spaghetti marinara sauces, these have been already cooked. That is not a problem for me. It's just the raw form of the tomatoes, of the lettuce and stuff like that. Now, some also might say, well, you do a garden. Well, when it comes to the tomatoes and stuff like that, my wife picks the tomatoes. So not to go off on a side tangent of it, but just so people who are watching my videos, you might say, hey, Easy Prepper or Justin, and this was just my first name. I know you have these certain issues that you can't have. But one of these things too, like with the ravioli, that isn't going to cause a problem for me. So with the pastas and stuff like that, that's not going to be a problem. Now, keeping on what we have right now with these, you can eat these cold. Same thing with the SpaghettiOs and that. Now, a little tip that a lot of people have given over the time, and I'm going to give in this video, this is $1, and I think this was like $1.29 maybe, or $1.50, just depending on it. Now, this is the name brand, Chef Boyardee, and there's the other ones out there. If you buy Kroger or a Meijer or a Target or a Walmart brand, you might be able to get this cheaper than $1, anywhere between 88 cents or 89 cents or even 80 cents. I've seen it sometimes. Now, these do have good shelf life to where some of them can be 1 to 2 years for one of these, and you can eat these cold. It doesn't taste that good, but in a grid down situation, if you have no electricity or nothing, this is going to be really good to eat. So buy yourself a good variety. And if you don't know, really, there's actually a difference between the Chef Boyardee and even the like the Kroger or the Meijer brand. There's a little bit of taste difference. So if I was you, buy one of each, do a taste testing, especially if you have a family, if you have kids. Have them try and see which one they like. So if you need to spend the extra 20 cents to get a Chef Boyardee, go ahead and do that. But if not, if they're okay and they don't care, they're not picky, then save the 20 cents, because over time, 10 cents and 20 cents of buying these types of cans and other types of products that we have here could be a lot. Now, the pasta that we have right here, which is Botella, we paid 59 cents. And the reason why we paid 59 cents and the expiration date on this is 2023. The reason why we got this for 59 cents and we cleaned them out, we bought 20 of these. And these are good for another 2 more years. And the reason why they were clearancing these out is they were changing the packaging. So stay on the lookout. Like, this is 2 years that I can leave in my pantry and I don't have to worry about it. And I also, instead of paying like $1.25, $1.50, I paid 59 cents. So kind of keep on a lookout and look for stuff like that. And then also too, speaking with, the Uncle Ben's, this is something good to have that you can throw in a microwave and cook if you have power. Now, if you're in a grid down situation where you don't have electricity and you don't have no means to cook it, you could pretty much rip this open and eat it as it is. It probably isn't going to taste that good. Like, it would be better if you were able to cook it in a frying pan or in a microwave, but this is definitely, something good to have. Now, you're also thinking this is a bag. You can get the smaller portions of rice that are in a plastic container That's the same way you throw them in the microwave for like a minute and they're good to go. So these are a good thing to have. The hash browns, these are really good to have. They're dehydrated. It's kind of like the mountain houses. You just got to add some water to it. Some heat, they prefer the Idaho Spuds here. Warm water, hot water to pretty much the top there, and it's like 12 minutes, and then you can cook them up in a frying pan. It's the same thing with the ramen noodles and that you have out there. You got to have water. It's got to be boiling, so then you can put this in there and heat. The same thing with the soup, the Bear Creek here. You just got to add water to it. You're good to go, and you can eat it. The same thing with this. Now, a lot of times they want you to put like butter in there, but this pack will feed 2 people, and you don't need to add any water, and this is $1. So for $1 for 2 people, so if you buy 100 of these, you at least have lunch for 2 people, for 50 days. Or 100 days, depending on how you're portioning them out, because you might cut it in half to where you're not going to eat your full portion, and maybe save half of it for lunch, and then maybe eat the other half for dinner with the extra half portion that you're going to do, depending on what you're doing. Now, some of the portions, or if you're by yourself, you might just eat the whole thing because maybe you did a lot of work in the morning into lunchtime. If you're gardening, your rain barrels, having stuff, eating all that is going to be okay because you just got to have water. Now, water we're going to definitely talk about in the next video. So don't be alarmed. That's coming up in the next video. Now, the one thing that me and my wife's been dealing with her mom and stuff like that, and even my sister-in-law, they do too, is we canning jelly. And my sister-in-law also cans tomatoes. They do like marinara sauce and pickles and potatoes and stuff like that. So which is another thing good to do. So having jelly. Now, yes, you have to have bread, but finding the stuff to make bread has been so hard to come by, especially with the pandemic that happened in 2020. So you might be able to get grain, but you can't get yeast. So you just got to be very vigilant and looking on the websites, going to your grocery store, trying to find that stuff, stock up on it, because it's going to happen again to where you're going to want to have that stuff. To maybe you're going to want to cook bread and you're going to want to have that type of stuff. Now, one thing that I do want to talk about, which is a great meal supplement, and you really don't have to refrigerate it or do anything, is getting these protein shakes here. Now, I can't remember, this is 2022. So this has a year's shelf life. So this is it has 100 calories, but you're getting 20 grams of protein, 6 carbohydrates, and 1 gram of fat. So this is definitely could be a good meal replacement for like maybe your lunch. So maybe you had your breakfast was maybe a packet of ramen noodles with water, but then this could be your meal replacement for your lunch, and then your dinner time, you can maybe heat something up like this, or if you have an MRE or some Mountain House meals, you're going to be able to try. So this is just a kind of variety of stuff that I have of everyday stuff that you can cook. Now, the one thing I do not have out there that you do want to do and stock up on is stuff that you're allowed to have as long as you don't lose power, like ground chuck, chicken, fish, any of that type of stuff that you can have in your freezers. Go ahead and freeze it. Having a food saver is a great thing to have. Like that, we bought a food saver, has saved us so much money. And then also having the Mylar bags where you can put some of this stuff in to maybe help it last longer is another good option to have. So make sure that you're always stocking your freezers and your refrigerators of good products to have, especially your freezers of chicken, steak, ground chuck. Divide your stuff up, write the dates on there, and then make sure every 3 to 6 months, go through your freezers. Make sure that you're updating it, going through your storage, because we like to pack a lot of stuff away and we forget about it. In my deep chest freezer, I have a dry erase board of everything that's in there, and when I eat it, I quickly erase it. Now, sometimes people might not be able to do it or forget about it, but I have it right on the lid, so when I pull it out, I know exactly what is in there. So it also will help you maintain everything. So now we're gonna kind of bring the other stuff back in here and wrap this video up for you guys. All right, so we're gonna wrap this video up. So hopefully you guys appreciate kind of like my views and opinions of kind of some things of what you wanna have, from the standard prepping of Mountain House meals, number 10 cans, to even the individuals, to a normal variety of ravioli, the Uncle Ben's, the pasta, and even, like I said at the very end, of keeping, stuff in your refrigerator and your freezers that are, and also using the food savers to keep that stuff for long term. So But the biggest thing you have to do is you have to make whatever you're going to use work for you. Because if you don't have it work for you, then you're not going to be successful in your preps or stuff that you might want to do. So you need to work and you need to cater to your situation and to your group or your family. Me and my wife also have other contingency plans ready to go in case we have other people come in from my mom and dad or her mom and dad or my brother and sister-in-law or my brother and his wife and his two kids or some of our other friends who have kids. So it's definitely something you're going to want to cater to your plan. Meet your plan's criteria first for you and your household. Then after that, then you can kind of start branching out on making sure that you have extra food for kids and for family. And we're also going to talk about down the road stuff to how to keep your kids entertained in a grid down situation or a pandemic, especially when power goes out. So that's definitely something we're going to try to dive into for that. But make the plan work for you and don't worry about what other people says in other YouTube videos and other maybe blog forums. In the end, you're the one that has to put in the work. You're the one that has to realize, what do I want to eat to help me keep me and my loved ones alive? And that's what this is about, is trying to bring awareness of what stuff you're going to want to have for you. So hopefully you guys like what I have and what I've kind of shown you. And if you guys have any questions or comments, write those down below. Hit the thumbs up if you like this video. And if you haven't, please hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys so much, and we will catch you guys down the road.